Welcome to another episode of the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Cool. The SportsBros podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. It's another wonderful but cold Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Sports Bros podcast. Let me go ahead and put our beautiful faces on gallery view for the whole world to see. Scott was probably eating candy. B-Live was probably getting everything together, punching the camera. And me, well, I'm just here. I am just here being me. All right, enough of me rambling. I got two of the best goals in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? We are just a few days away from Super Bowl 56 with two unlikely teams that are in the Super Bowl. So, you know, that is the talk of the trade this week. But then there's so much. The NFL season's never over. There's so much stuff that we could talk about. You know what? Let's do things as we normally do. You know, the face of the Sports Bros right here. Then you could go ahead and introduce the other guy. You know,
the main event.
The main event. You better watch out. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Hail to the Commanders. Hail victory. Commies on the warpath. Fight for old DC. Who are you going to root for? The Commies or America's team? Pretty cut and dry. Pretty easy choice, I'd say, right there, huh?
No, that's not.
The Commies are now in the NFL. The Commies have made it. I tell you. Like you said, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the NFL right now, and most of it ain't really that good. So let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the Super Bowl, baby. Super Bowl Sunday's coming.
You've had 2 years to figure out a name for a team. How the hell you let the Edmonton Eskimos? You know what? That's another story for another day. But here we're talking about the National Football League. We are mere days away from Super Bowl 56. If you would have asked me, Eddy, would it be the Bengals and the Rams? I'd have been like, nah. I would have been like Bucks Chiefs Part 2. But then once again, what in the hell do I know? So here we go. Stage is set. SoFi Stadium, the most star-studded Super Bowl in the history of the world, Craig. All right. We got the Bengals representing the American Football Conference versus the Rams representing the National Football Conference. Fellas, I'm not going to be like the other networks and bore y'all to death with random questions. I'm going to ask you 2 questions straight to the point. Who you got and why? Starting with you first, Scottie D.
Man, I have been going back and forth on this one so much. Because I kept not betting, but I kept thinking the Bengals were early up against it and we're like a year away. And here they are. And I don't feel like I want to make that mistake again. But I can't pick against the Rams right now because I keep going back to the Bengals-Titans game and Joe Burrow being under pressure all day. And now the Rams defensive line has had 2 weeks to get ready, a little extra rest on them legs, a little bit of extra film time. And I think that could be the difference of the game. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to say maybe like 24-16 type of game. That's what I'm thinking. I won't be surprised if the Bengals win this thing, but I keep thinking I kept thinking I was going to pick them, but I just can't go against the Rams. And, you know, it felt like this was like a coming of age season for Matthew Stafford. He finally got out of Detroit and here he is and he has his shot and he's so close and the Rams are all in. If they don't win it now, when? You know, when are you going to do it? I mean, this is the time. So I'm going with the Rams. I just think it's their year. Be Live, what do you got?
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a thief. I'm a steal. I'm a rob the money man Scottie D. I'm a rob you of this one. The Bengals 1 year early. I think that they're going to be in the talk for years to come. But I really think if they do not protect Joe Burrow, it's going to be a miserable day for him. But they have the tools to beat him. They have the tools to beat the Rams because this Rams secondary, that's their weak point. That's their defense. They rely so much on pressure. They rely so much on getting to the quarterback early and often. So if the Bengals can give Joe Burrow one extra second in the pocket, he does have the talent to win the game. But I have to pick the Rams for this. It's going to be close. I'm going to say 21-17 Rams. I just think that defense, Von Miller and Aaron Donald possibly lined up on the same side of the, that don't even make no sense. And I don't want Von Miller to have another Super Bowl ring. But I don't want Joe Burrow to have one either. I'm just hating I'm just hate. And y'all know why. Y'all already know why. I don't gotta explain it. All roads lead to Dabo. Lead on. Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay,
so that leaves to me. So let's see. We got Scottie D, you picked the Rams, right?
I did.
Be Live, you kind of don't give a damn. No, I'm joking. You picked the Rams too, right?
Yeah, I picked the Rams.
You know what? I will say this: since I live in Ohio, Columbus, and Cincinnati, and the surrounding areas, they just might hate me. As far as I'm concerned, Cleveland, they just don't give a damn. I'm gonna have to go with the Rams, man. And I'm like Scottie D, dating back to that Titans game where they sacked Joe Burrow 9 times and got all kind of pressure on him. I see it like this. What the Bengals will have to do, they're going to have to rely on quick screens, heavy dosage of Samaje Perine, and also, what that boy name? Joe Mixon, and the bubble screens of the wide receivers. They're going to have to play fast. They're going to have to play real fast in order to beat the Rams, because if Joe Burrow is better at sitting duck and those wide receivers are covered, then, we might see 11 sacks in one game because the Rams front seven that damn good. All right, you got Leonard Floyd, you got to account for. Aaron Donald, you got to account for, and also this guy by the name of Von Miller as well too. So I'm with you, Scottie D. The Rams are in win now mode, because if they don't win now, boy, these next few years are going to be atrocious. All right, so we all picked the Rams over the Bengals, and see how
I'm telling you. I'm gonna tell you the key, like you mentioned that front seven. Mm-hmm. If I'm telling you though, it's gonna be one heck of a game. I'm picking the Rams now, but I think Cincinnati, the Bengals, they have the tools to win.
They do.
If Joe Burrow has one extra second in the pocket, that back four, the defensive backs of they've been known to let a few big plays happen, and Cincinnati is a big play team. So it's one of those things. It's Jamar Chase could have a career day. They won't. I'm gonna tell you right now, doubling Jamar Chase is not a tool for success.
No,
T. Higgins is just as good. So I'm just telling you that didn't work out. That did not work out for Kansas City. I don't think it works out for the Rams. They got to get to the quarterback, get them flustered, because even we've seen that the 9 sacks didn't stop them against the Titans. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. I don't have to work. It's doubly exciting. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm gonna have some snacks and some food and some drinks with some good people. Shout out my man Sammy Smokes out there. Yes, sir. He invited me over to his house for Super Bowl. I'll be there. I'm bringing extra belly. You know how I do things. All right. Yes,
he's bringing extra belly. All right. So that's it. And see how that was, everybody? We were not going to bore you with 2 weeks of endless, long, draining, boring, and mundane Super Bowl talk. There's only one game between 2 teams. I'm pretty sure, they got a story. They got this. But here at the SportsBros podcast, baby, we keep it moving and we keep it rolling, all right? Moving into the next segment, it is time for the SportsBros podcast to hand out their version of the NFL awards, all right? And here's the categories. The MVP, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, the defensive rookie of the year, the offensive player of the year, the defensive player of the year, the coach of the year, and the comeback player of the year. Who wants to go first, fellas?
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and knock mine out.
Okay.
Because you know how I like to go against the grain with certain things. I like to go against the grain. And this is gonna be different because I'm just there's certain things we're gonna agree on, certain things we're not. And I even thought about it. I made a change right on the fly because I just like doing things. My MVP for this year is not who you think it is, but it's an easy pick. It should get more consideration considering how much this dude put the team on his back and he outshone, like he wasn't even close. It wasn't even close how far ahead he was from the rest of the league. My MVP this year, Jonathan Taylor. 1,800 rushing yards. That was 600 more than the next running back. And you saw when he was on his horse, Indianapolis was winning. When he was not on his horse, they were losing. And despite their weakness at the quarterback position that we saw when they didn't even make the playoffs, Jonathan Taylor got them where they were supposed to be. He got them to the point. My offensive player of the year is where everybody has their MVP. My offensive player of the year is Aaron Rodgers. The dude just keeps putting up numbers, the most efficient quarterback. I know Scottie D hates him. It's going to be all right. We're talking statistics, not how you feel, not how he deceives the public, how he was immunized. Like, we ain't here for that. We're here for stats. And
that's why he's my MVP. It's why he's my MVP.
We ain't getting to you yet.
Well, I mean, I'm defending myself. You would act like I'm going to be biased against him. I can't stand the guy, but I think he's the MVP of the league this year.
Got you. You know me. I just like to put a little jugs and jabs and make sure. I like to stir the pot because I knew you were going to talk trash anyway. My defensive player of the year, I don't understand why he doesn't get more mentions in this because everybody's so all about America's team. But, dude, all this dude did was sack the quarterback 22 and a half times. And one of those was, it should have been 23. And he should have had the record. Oh, man, TJ Watt for the Steelers. That's my defensive player of the year. He was disruptive. I want to say he's the reason that the Steelers sneaked in and got that 7th seed, but still disappointed the entire state by they shouldn't even been in the playoffs anyway. But him on defense, man, put them in position because it definitely wasn't because of their quarterback play. I guarantee you that much. Now,
put me down for you on that one. I'm going to go with you on that one too, B-Live.
Oh, all right.
I'll agree with TJ Watt.
So now I'm going to come down to two. I think these are unanimous. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase. I think that's unanimous.
Yep.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons. I think that's unanimous.
Yep.
I'm with you on those.
Yep, both those two.
Coach of the Year. And this man he doesn't have a head coaching position. But he's the coach of the year because of all the adversity he had to deal with. My coach of the year. It might not be on. My coach of the year, Las Vegas Raiders, Rich Bisaccia. I don't know. The fact that they made the playoffs and with all that controversy that they went through, I don't know how he ends up being the special teams coach on the Green Bay Packers. Hey,
that's a damn consolation prize. Are you serious?
Yeah, but what a perfect fit for them to have that fall into their lap when that's why they lost their game practically. Well, true. A big part of why they lost their playoff game. Yeah. Good fit. So,
and I wanted to see him get it. I would give the man a head. He was the head coach for a team that was in disarray, and he willed the team together and they won. Is he the best choice moving forward? I would just like to see him get one more year, get him a full year. And if it doesn't work out full year for head coaching, then give him the special teams coaching job. But man, I think he deserves a chance to be a head coach. But then again, I don't know how he interviews. We don't know what happened, but he is my coach of the year. And then comeback player of the year, I think this might be a unanimous.
Dak.
No,
Did you say Dak?
I did not. I did not include $160 million contract at all.
So it's unanimous that Dak is the comeback player of the year. I think we all got him.
No. Wait, you just wanted you wanted to open that door so you could trash on Dak a little bit more, didn't you? You wanted to do that, right? You want to somehow make this about the Dallas Cowboys. We gave you Micah Parsons. He deserved that.
Dak came back.
Yeah, he came back.
This year.
$75 million though. $75 million. Was he worth $75 million this year? Scottie D? Was he?
Tell me your pick. Tell me your pick.
No. You the one brought up Dak. I picked brought him up. See, now you the one, you brought it up. You knew if you, man.
I picked Joe Burrow.
Yes, my pick is Joe. They got Joe Cool, Joe Burr, like Joe Burr, like he's cold as ice. He's got so many nicknames out. And if I got to see this fool one more time smoke that cigar, oh God, y'all just pour salt on the wound. I'm so sick of him and that cigar. Yes, he's Joe Cool. Yes, he's cooler than the other side of the pillow. Yes, Joey Swag, Joey Bag of Donuts. Yes, Joe Burrow is comeback player of the year. It sucks that he got hurt last year, but he definitely came back, and now he's representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Let's see what happens. Yes, sir.
All right. So for my MVP, it's probably going to be the last time I say his name, or is it? I'm going to say Tom, Edward, Patrick, Carmichael, Harrelson, Jerome, Francois, Marthe, Jabot, Henderson, Anderson, Hendricks, Brady, the Order of Canada, the third, to be 44 years old and pass for 43 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. He is the ageless wonder. We all agree that Jamar Chase, okay, 81 receptions, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Micah Parsons,
fastest man in the NFL.
Yes.
Stop the cap. Oh my God.
He won the race. Fastest man in the NFL. He won the fastest man in the NFL race.
Tyreek Hill stumbled three times.
He lost.
He was in full sweats. Michael Parsons out there with his shirt off. He really was trying to win it.
He was like chest naked.
Tyreek Hill was in a full sweatsuit.
Try again next year.
Oh, but I want to say this little caveat. Tyreek Hill, you should have won that race because Usain Bolt is talking PT trash on social media about Tyreek Hill losing that. Like, you can't even win against Micah Parsons. You want to come up against me? Ooh, Usain. He's just as quick with the jokes as he is on his feet. Yes, sir.
Yep. Micah Parsons, he is quick. He had 84 total tackles, 13 sacks, and 1-2 forced fumbles. My offensive player of the year is King Cooper Kupp, 145 receptions, 1,900 yards receiving, over 1,900 yards receiving, and 16 touchdowns. My defensive player of the year, another one of them doggone Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs with 11 interceptions. And my coach of the year candidate is Zach Taylor, 10-7, led the Bengals to their first AFC North title in quite some time, beat everybody, and now they're going to the Super Bowl. And the comeback player of the year, Joey Cool, Joey Smokers, Tampa Nuggets cigar, Burrow. 4,611 yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and he completed 70.4% of his passes and survived the season with that horrid offensive line. Boy, he's going to be in trouble if they don't get it together. All right, Scottie D, who you got for the Money Man's edition of the NFL Awards?
I am going to go Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go for the MVP. I'm going to go with you, Eddie, on offensive player. Go with Cooper Kupp. I think I agreed with both of you guys on the what are we talking about? The offensive rookie of the years.
Yeah, with Jamar Chase. Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that. I'll go with TJ Watt, defensive player of the year. And what am I missing? Coach of the year.
Yep.
It's hard right now to not say Zach Taylor because they are in the Super Bowl, but this is actually a regular season award, and that's why I go with Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans, because his best weapon was out for 10 weeks, and he somehow dragged Ryan Tannehill to the number 1 seed in the AFC. Again, they lost to Zach Taylor, and that's why I feel like he actually should be the coach of the year at this point. But as far as it being a regular season, I go with Vrabel. Is that all of them? I get them all there. I check all them boxes off.
Comeback player of the year. Do you also say Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow, yeah, I'm with you. Yep.
My question is this: why are the awards just regular season?
That's a good question. That's what I mean, because the rightful coach of the year probably is not. Because I think a lot of the writers and the voters will go with Vrabel because of the reasons that I mentioned. You know, the Bengals had what'd you say? They were 10-7, right? Regular season.
Yeah, 10-7 to win the division. Yep.
Yeah. So I think Vrabel will get some consideration in that area.
He should.
I think, with it being a regular season award, I agree with. As Scottie D, I do agree with you. I just think Rich Bisaccia should get some more consideration.
Oh, he definitely should get a lot of credit for pulling that together. Yeah.
And another reason why I don't like the fact that these awards are just regular season and that don't include the playoffs is because Deshaun Watson should have got a Heisman over Lamar Jackson that year, because Deshaun Watson carried my Clemson. I went too far.
I agree again, be alive. I do.
God almighty. He's such a magical, he had a magical season, but Lamar Jackson just did every statistic known to man when he played for Louisville. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. All roads lead to Dabo. Eddy Cool, Amtrak. Yes, sir.
Is that why we can't get rid of all this damn snow outside? Because you two on the same page for the first time in the
right?
I'm gonna need y'all to agree more. And Punksy Tony Field, keep your behind in the damn ground. You can't see your damn shadow. All right. So, anyways, moving on to a heavy topic. Gentleman, Brian Flores, he files a class action lawsuit against the NFL, namely the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, and the New York Giants. Damn. That's what I got to say about that, man. It's a heavy
big
topic.
Story.
Yeah,
big story.
It's a heavy topic. Apparently, according to reports, Stephen Ross said, hey, you tank these games, I give you $100,000. So here we go. We got to question the integrity of the game by him doing that. And then when he went for the Denver Broncos interview, they came up disheveled and disoriented, aka drunk and hungover possibly. And then Bill Belichick sending the wrong text to the wrong Brian. Bill, I'm gonna tell you so. See, I'm not mad at Bill Belichick, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you have a lot of people in your phone, like if you got 3 or 4 Brians, hey, Brian D, Brian F, Brian C, Brian J. It's not that hard, Bill. I mean, you smart at everything else, man. Kind of just you gotta think sometimes, man. You gotta think.
That one's pretty important.
Yeah.
Before you send that one, you gotta make sure you know who you're sending that one to.
Yeah,
it's kind of important, and that's really what's blown this thing up as much as anything when it comes to the practice of interviewing minority candidates. That's what escalated that. Now the Dolphins paying to tank, that's a whole other. It's like 2 different stories all wrapped up into one here as far as the Flores thing goes. But and I did hear, I heard it mentioned somewhere that Belichick is part of the problem because he used his influence to get the Giants to hire Daboll. And I think that's kind of, I think that's a little bit of a stretch because I'm not going to say Belichick is such a godly figure that he's actually influencing the Giants as well. You know, because I'm sure if in a conversation, he spoke well of him and recommended him, but he probably did the same thing for Flores in Miami at some point too. I would think, you know, he has had a lot of assistants that have gone on to be head coaches. And I'm sure he had conversations about them before them getting hired. And that's where I think the thing that was with Dayball comes in. I don't think he's not controlling the Giants organization. He's already having his hands full with the Patriots now that Brady's
gone. I'm going to say this. There's a couple things that really stand out to me with this story. Is that Brian Flores? He says this is not a new story, by the way. If you have not realized that, this has been steaming and stemming, and little bits and pieces been keep adding to the fire. You don't bring up 2019 unless 2019 stung and still stung, and then all you do after that, you get another job and you have a winning record. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to have a winning record in the NFL, and especially with the franchise, what they had, and everything like that. I can see where there's a little bit of disagreement between the general manager, a little disagreement with Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa. That issue might be there, but man, the one that I can't get over, and you don't make this stuff up. It's one of those things. There's certain things you can make up. There's certain things that you can elaborate on, that you can add a little extra to it. But John Elway, bro, showing up late to an interview, like I feel some type of way. And you think about this is that he was like, you know what, maybe that job isn't for me. I'm gonna go and do things here, there, and elsewhere. But between Denver, Miami, and the Giants, Brian Flores came out and said, you know what, across the board, I am sick of your.
I had enough.
I had enough. I'm calling out everybody because it doesn't make any sense. The collective of things. Brian Flores, he still doesn't have an NFL head coaching job. I understand so because he's suing the NFL. But again, man.
I think he will, though. I think he will. I think he's going to get hired again. And when this story first broke, my first thought is he has made himself a lightning rod, and nobody's going to go near him. But I think there's actually probably a sentiment brewing out there of respect for him, where you're seeing that he was offered money to tank. He didn't want to tank. He was offered, or he was told to try to reach out to Brady while he's still under contract. He didn't want to do that. He stood his ground. And this was a bold decision for him to come out with all this stuff. Not to mention he's a damn good football coach. I think he's going to get another job, maybe this year, if not next year, for sure.
And then the lawyers turn around and say to Roger Goodell, "We don't believe you either. You want to review the hiring practices of the NFL and make sure that there's inclusion and all this stuff right here." I'm going to go ahead and say this real quick. This is my hot take right here. And this might go against the grain. This might just, hey, puck up your booty holes for this one because I'm coming in hot. This one, I've been very opinionated about certain things in my life. And one thing I've been very opinionated about, I haven't spoke a lot about it, but I've been very opinionated about it, is affirmative action. I 100% hate affirmative action. Because you know why? Because the last thing I ever want to hear in my life is that I got a job because of the color of my skin. That I got a position offered to me even though I wasn't qualified for it. I don't want anybody to ever say that about my ability and what I do. Every job I've had in my entire life since I worked since I was 14 years old, not only did I excel, I got promoted every single job I've been at. It had nothing to do with the color of my skin. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is a true story of mine, and it's going back to the Rooney Rule. I'm going to bring it to the Rooney Rule in just a second. My very first year when I got accepted to the United States Naval Academy, which is the sixth hardest school in the entire country to get into, had a bunch of people say that I got in because of the color of my skin. that it wasn't because of my work. It wasn't because of my resume. It wasn't because of my test scores. It wasn't because of my grade point average. It was because of the color of my skin, because of affirmative action. I said, what was your SAT score? This was mine. What was your ACT score? This was mine. What was your school ranking? This was mine. I excelled you in every single facet of the word. How dare you come out of your mouth and say I got this because of the color of my skin? And now the NFL is being called out for their BS hiring practices because they implemented the Rooney Rule, which is just an excuse for somebody to say, "Oh, well, I interviewed somebody. Oh, that should qualify, so I passed the Rooney Rule." No, first of all, there are very well qualified people of color to coach these programs, these franchises. They're out there, but you refuse to even look at it. So it's one of those things where Brian Flores has every right to be upset. If you're not going to take him seriously because of the Rooney Rule, how about you look at the man's resume? Look at what he's done. Look at his winning record. And just because he disagreed with something that he shouldn't have been placed in that position to start with. Do things the right way. Don't pay him extra to tank. For what? That man coached his behind off and put the Miami Dolphins in a position they shouldn't have been in the first place. They got a long ways to go as far as talent-wise, but he put a winning program on the field. So, hey, NFL, I'm calling you on your BS right now.
In both of those instances, I'm sorry, go ahead. I thought you were taking
No. But yeah, it's like, again, it's just one of those things where I can't stand, Eddy, cool. I'm gonna do my best. I said I wasn't gonna do it. That the whole thing in San Francisco, what is it? Who's
in Miami?
Yeah, the new coach in Miami. He was a San Fran.
Mike
assistant.
McDaniel. Yeah, Mike McDaniel.
The fact that his ethnicity, I can't even talk right now. The fact that we have to talk about who his mommy and his daddy is a joke. It's an absolute joke. This is where we're at in 2022. Look at this man's resume. The fact that we're at a position right now that, yes, we should have more representation because 70% of the league is this. The talent is there. The think tank is there. But man, oh man, it's just one of those things like, good God. We shouldn't be in this position right now. We should not be in this time or place because Brian Flores is getting the short end of the stick because he's playing a card they shouldn't have to play because he's a really good coach, but people have not taken him seriously because they disagreed with one of his coaching practices, even though he puts a winning program on the field. You show up late to the man's interview just to fulfill a quota. Man, come on, bro. I've been steaming on this for a minute, and I stand behind Brian Flores. One way or the other, it doesn't mean he should coach, and the NFL should pay him. It's just not right.
I'd take him as a coach right now. I'd love to have him as a coach because he's told to lose and still wins. I mean,
ain't that something?
They're trying to tank. They're trying to lose, and he got his players playing for him so hard that they were still winning. But what I was going to say is, in both of these kind of scenarios I was talking about, we had two scenarios wrapped up into one story. It was kind of unspoken rules or unspoken things in both situations, because you know that the Rooney Rule was put in place so that when a team says, okay, we need a new coach, let's look at everybody. That's what was intended, that you also will be looking at minorities. But some teams already have their minds made up ahead of time. And so now that's the snag in the Rooney Rule. We knew when Jerry Jones was looking for a coach, he interviewed Marvin Lewis first. We knew he wasn't going to hire Marvin Lewis. He was just meeting his quota. You know, he was getting it, checking that box. Although I think he also interviewed Chris Richard, who was on his staff at the time, who was a defensive coordinator who was black. I think he interviewed him as well. And that might be a poor example, but for example, the Giants knew that Daboll was going to be their guy. And so they went through the motions. They just shouldn't have said that. And we know that that's happened throughout the history of this Rooney Rule, that some teams know ahead of time, I want that guy. I'm going to hire that guy. he's my guy. Like if the Cowboys fire Mike McCarthy, we know Sean Payton is their guy, but they're still going to have to interview someone else anyway, just to check that box. So it's fair. But that's kind of like one of those unspoken things that we know has gone on. In the same manner, we also know that tanking goes on. It's just not said we're going to tank. What you do is kind of what baseball does every year at the trade deadline is you go with your youth movement, you look at your young guys, you sell off your high price talent, and then you are rewarded with better picks. That happens in all sports. But when you're saying, I want you to definitely lose these games, not try hard with the young guys, not try hard with the cheaper guys. I want you to lose. You're getting into a legal thing there where you're saying, I'm not trying to win this year. I want to win in the future, but I don't want to win this year. Let's make sure we lose. And that's pretty much on the illegal side. I mean, that's throwing games.
Yeah.
There's methods to doing this stuff. And maybe the NFL is going to have to review like how the NBA back in the early 80s, they were tanking so they could get Patrick Ewing or an Elijah. And you go to the draft lottery now so that if you're one of the worst teams, there's no guarantee I'm going to get number one. I mean, you remember Orlando got number one 2 years in a row. They got Shaq and Penny out of the deal. They drafted Weber and traded, got Penny. But, they weren't the worst record in the league. So maybe the NFL is going to have to look at that. That the Jets sure weren't tanking last year. Otherwise, Trevor Lawrence would have been a Jet this year. No. So there's ways to go about it. We know when teams are needing to rebuild. We understand that sometimes you have to strip down and start over. You just can't plan on losing. You can't say, I am definitely going to lose. You have to still try. And and the same thing with Cleveland. I think that that story might have been a little bit exaggerated off the top because Hugh Jackson was kind of chiming in just to say, yeah, I've seen this kind of thing as well. I don't think theirs was quite the same as what Miami did. But if this is true and this is how this is going down, that owner got to go. You got to go.
Yeah, he has to go. And we'll wrap the segment up real quick. I'll say this: as far as the Rooney Rule, it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I understand the purpose of the Rooney Rule. But it's such baloney because it's at the point to where, okay, if you interview Brian Flores and Jim Caldwell, we're going to incentivize it. We're going to give you something. It shouldn't have to come to that point. Like I understand the good of the Rooney Rule, but we shouldn't have to have that. Every time you turn around, we got to do this because of the Rooney Rule. No, if he's qualified, interview him. If you like him, hire him. Let's not do this because somebody decided, hey, let's make a rule to make it fair. I mean, fair is fair and right is wrong. As far as the Rooney Rule, man, I had enough of it. But you know what I hadn't had enough of? And guess what time it is, fellas?
What you got?
What time is it? What you got for us?
Oh, man, it is time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. We got a double dose this time. And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Ms. Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard the woman. It is the choices of the voices. We got a double dose, double decker for you this week. And with that being said, Scottie D, part one of this week's Choices of the Voices. What's on tap?
All right, sticking with the Super Bowl theme, I asked, what when you think of Super Bowl blunders, and there have been many on and off the field, what comes to mind? We got some good, some nice creative answers here. Eddie, cool.
All right, we got some good ones. All right, we're gonna lead off with the Hall of Famer himself, Uncle Max, and he says, Scott Norwood, wide right.
That's one that is at the top of everyone's chart. And I never really considered that to be a blunder so much. It's just a field goal kicker misses a field goal. And I remember when that happened, I thought Buffalo should have been more aggressive in their play calling and getting him closer down there. And, I don't think that field was in the best of shape, but I mean, obviously he should have made it. I think, what was it, like a 47-yard field goal, but it wasn't like a chip shot where the ball was placed on the 20-yard line.
Yeah, he had to put foot in that one. But
that poor guy went down in history as like the greatest blunder of all that. It was like a Bill Buckner type of thing.
Wow, here we go. All right, the big boss man, Bruce Diamond. What's going on, man? He said Norwood wasn't a blunder. He said it was well known that his accuracy from that distance wasn't great. So he said that Scott Norwood wasn't a blunder, and I don't think he gave us a blunder.
No, he's just kind of going along with what I was saying there, actually.
Okay, all right. So we got Joey Jacobs. He said Jackie Smith dropping a simple pitch and catch pass for a touchdown in 1978. I think it was Super Bowl 12.
It was 13.
13. Okay.
It was 13. It cost the Cowboys the Super Bowl.
I'm about to say, the way you said that, there was so
13.
It was 13.
I was like, you saw like you had some money on the line or something.
The Cowboys settled for a field goal, and the final score is 35-31. So those 4 points would have been important had he was wide open. Have you guys ever seen the clip of that? Because they showed that a lot this time of year. And keep your eyes peeled because you'll see it this week if you watch enough. But Staubach dropped back, and there's Jackie Smith, who was I think he ended up getting elected to the Hall of Fame. He was like one of the best tight ends in the league, and he kind of slipped and let the ball go through his arms, and that was it. And the announcer said, "Bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man alive right now." So,
so that's where that line came. That's where that line came from.
Yeah, okay. That one stung a little bit.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right, so that's where that line came from. All right, Tom Wynn, he said Pete Carroll not handing the ball off 4 straight times if needed with Marshawn Lynch, beast mode in the backfield.
I agree.
Stop trying to be cute
In the Super Bowl.
God.
Never works. I don't care who you are.
Enough said. Great answer.
Yeah. Good answer. I like it.
One of the best backs in the league. No, Darrell Bevel. We gonna throw the ball. For what? That's probably why he ain't got no damn job now. I wouldn't hire him either. All right. JR said, and B-Live, we're gonna love this one. The Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead, and then JR said, or Wes Welker missing that catch versus the Giants.
Never forget. At the end of the day,
Never forget.
How? There ain't no way. It's one of those things like never forget. I'll never forget the fact that Atlanta, they tried to keep their foot on the gas, and that's where they got into trouble. They kept trying to throw the ball. They were trying to run up the score, and then Matt Ryan was the interception, letting them keep coming back. 1, 2, 3 out. That's Tom Brady has the ball again. At some point in time, you got to play the clock.
Yeah.
I understand, and this is the beginning of analytics. And it's just, God, I'm over here watching this game, and I'm like, bro, run the ball. Take some time off the clock.
I'm laughing.
Keep Tom Brady off the field. What are you doing? It's 28-9. Oh, y'all gonna give it? Oh, y'all just.
And then Julio Jones makes like one of the greatest catches you ever see on the sideline, gets them into field goal range. And what do? They go backwards with a penalty, a holding penalty, and Matt Ryan takes a sack, and now they're out of field goal range. They did everything they could to prove that they were Patriots fans. Next. Yeah,
they did. They did. I'm telling you, man, Tom, Edward, Patrick Carmichael, you know the rest, man. You know the rest. You see what he did. You see what he did. That's why he gets that big, grandiose greeting. All right. So here we go. We got the best name of the game, JoJo Comfort. He says, how about 5 blunders? He got 5 on it. He said, how about 5 blunders? As in 5 picks thrown by then Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon against the Buccaneers. I don't remember how many points Tampa scored off those picks, but they were without a doubt the primary reason the Raiders got smoked. Hey, you see, y'all,
they had at least 2 pick sixes.
Y'all see the reference there? What I just did there? I got 5 on it. Oh, anyways, I'm sorry. I had a Matt Riddle moment there. My bad. I'm sorry.
Man, oh man. But what was I forgot. What was the score of that game? It was just
34 to
God,
No, I think they were in the 40s or 50s even. It was a blowout.
They beat the brakes off of them. They beat
them. And that Tampa defense was smothering. And they had made that coaching trade where Gruden went from the Raiders to Tampa, and what's my name? Callahan ran all the time. I remember Warren Sapp saying we knew everything they were going to run because Callahan didn't disguise coverages or anything or plays. They just ran the same stuff as when Gruden was there the year before, and it was easy pickings for Warren Sapp and the boys. That was a badass defense. So those guys
48 to 21.
Derek,
and it wasn't that close.
It was Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Hardy Nickerson, Rondé Barber, Dexter Jackson.
He was the MVP, I believe. Dexter Jackson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
He was. They just won Super Bowls that should have never happened. All right, then we got Craig Burns. He said Bill Belichick benching Malcolm Butler versus the Eagles.
Yeah, never really got to the bottom of that, did we? They never really said he broke a team rule or was late for a meeting or something.
Yeah, and Malcolm was crying on the sideline.
They benched him. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll talk about that after the season's over with. Not the biggest game of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe bench him for the first series if you're mad at him, but that hurt him too. They needed him because Nick Foles was out there throwing like nobody was in the middle, and that's because nobody was. Butler was on the sideline.
All right.
And the birth of the Philly special.
The old Philly special. And Tom Brady's like, I can catch the ball too. No, I can't. All right. So on part one of the choice of the voice, shout out to Uncle Max, Bruce, Joy Jacobs, Tom, JR, JoJo Comfort, the best name of the game, and Craig Burns for their participation in this part of the choices of the voices. Real quick, fellas, who you got?
Let me defer to B Live. I don't want to step on your toes and say one of the because I have a couple here that I wanted to see if got covered. But go ahead, B. I don't want to step on your toes. So go ahead.
I guarantee you're not going to step on my toes, but it's simple. If anybody that knows me, there's two blunders, but one is not going to get mentioned because I felt bad for his ankles when he didn't go dive for that ball. Cam Newton 2015 Super Bowl when he didn't dive on that fumble. I'm not going to bring that up because a lot of people like to bring that up, and I don't like it. The blunder for me. Oh,
I think I know. Can I guess it?
You go for it.
It might be mine too. But go ahead.
Does that have something to do with the kicker kicking a ball out of bounds?
You already knew it. I can't get over that because the aforementioned attorney at law Esquire Order of Canada. God, you cannot give them the ball on a 40-yard line, and then you got Adam freaking Vinatieri. So Seth freaking Rollins, you didn't come up with that. I came up with that a long time ago. It was always Adam freaking Vinatieri. God, we weren't even supposed to be there.
No.
Jake Del Home, his first starting season with us, took us to the Super Bowl.
An exciting game too. It was an excellent game.
It was good.
I mean, you got Janet Jackson's titty, and it was
one for the ages. There was a blunder in itself right there.
Speaking of blunders,
yeah.
Malfunction.
Yeah. I'm surprised no one didn't mention that one. That was a good blunder there.
Yes, Lord.
But be live, I'm with you too, man. John Casey, I love you, bro, but you are key.
He was so good too. I mean, that was uncharacteristic. He was a legendary kicker.
He was always good. He would always put it away from the most dangerous kick returners in the league. John Fox would say, hey, just kick it to the back of the end zone and we'll take care of it from there because we had one of the most vaunted defenses in the NFL at that time. Badass defense. But John Casey, man, you had the job. One foot ball. Kick it, aim to the uprights. I don't know what happened. And then the Esquire, the Order of Brazil, the Mayor of Funky Town, USA, Tampa Tom. And then you let him do what he does. And this was in the beginning stages of the immortal Tom Brady and Adam Stinking Vinatieri.
could be completely different story if Carolina wins that Super Bowl.
It could have been Eli, Nick Foles, and Jake Delhomme. Scottie D, who you got?
Well, there was, if you saw the picture I put up, I put up one of the most obvious ones, which is Leon Lett of the Cowboys getting stripped of the ball. And that never bothered me that much because the Cowboys won in a blowout anyway. So that one didn't bother me too much. And then there was one with Garo Yepremian. Have you guys ever seen the clip of him? Yeah, trying to pick up the ball. The Dolphins were up 14-0, going for the undefeated season in the Super Bowl, and he picks up the fall. Instead of falling, he tries to pass and it goes backwards. But again, he won that game as well. So I mean, that was, those are classic blunder moments on the field. But I think one of the biggest ones ever actually took place off the field, and that was the 1998 Super Bowl in the January of '99 when the Falcons played the Broncos, and Eugene Robinson, the defensive back for the Falcons, was awarded the Bart Starr Award for the high moral character. And that very night, which was the day before the Super Bowl, went out and got arrested for solicitation of a prostitute. And that team was not right the next day. The Broncos went out and just smoked them. And you can't help but think that may have had a little something to do with it. I mean, that was a serious blunder. And then similarly was Barrett Robbins. You remember him for the Raiders the night before that game? He disappeared and didn't even play in the game. He was a guard. I think he was a guard.
Yep.
And he was off of his med. He had I think he had bipolar disorder and got off of his meds and went to Mexico or something. It was a very strange story, but he didn't play in the Super Bowl. And then to continue my Cowboys theme, the Cowboys team hosted the Super Bowl between the Packers and the Steelers and didn't have enough seats. They sold tickets and didn't have enough seats. There was like an ice storm and in Dallas that weekend, they didn't ship all the additional seating. That was a blunder. And then, Ravens and 49ers, they blew a fuse. They're in the dark for another half an hour after halftime. I think Beyonce performed, that year, and they blew a fuse. You remember that? They had darkness between the Ravens and 49ers. So there's a handful of those. Leon Lett's one that always seems to really surface the most because that was like the on-field thing. It was such a spectacle where he's running down, he has the ball out. And if you ever watch that clip, it doesn't even make sense. He's holding the ball here and then pulls it down to the only spot where BB can catch him and knock it out of his hands. And that was one that he had trouble living down. But again, the Cowboys won that game 52-17. So that didn't really ruin the party for me. But yeah, some good answers on there from our Choices of the Voices fans. Good job with that one.
Part 2, Scottie D. What's on tap for part 2 of Choices of the Voices?
Well, I'm actually glad that I asked this question because it's going to lead us into a little bit of Olympic talk. But what Olympic events were you looking forward to is what we asked last week. And since then, the Olympics have gotten started. And what do we have on this as far as answers go, Eddie?
All right, so here we go. We got the best name in the game. Once again, Jojo Comfort, he said execution, timing, and physics. You ask? Those would be not the simple parts. And I don't know what sport he picked.
He was referring to ski jumping.
Okay, ski jumping. I got you.
Yeah, that is just.
Oh yeah, he says at the beginning. Yeah, I'm all about the ski jumping. Yeah, okay.
My copy and paste must not work. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I would love to be the commentator for ski jumping because the country would come out of me, and once they hit that rep, I mean, yeet.
I love watching ski jumping. I love it.
All you see is, and then how they bend the skis up there next to the chest, and it's like just this like poetry in motion, and then they just land it. You know how they hit their head and a little shimmy at the end, and man, that is a good one. Joe Comfort, yes sir. There's times I find myself looking at TV going, and I was like this at TV going, you better hold it. You better hold it. That's how you know you got something good going on. All right. The big boss man, once again, Bruce Diamond, he says, that's easy. Curling. And then he said, clearly, biathlon, close second. So we had a discussion earlier about what the biathlon was, right?
Yeah, cross country skiing and shooting, I believe.
Shooting, yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I'm like, ain't that a track and field? I don't know. It just, see, I'm just
No.
of it.
Biathlon is exclusive to winter.
Mm.
It's cross country skiing and shooting.
Okay.
In Summer Olympics, you think of the triathlon or the decathlon. There's two different sports, but yeah, biathlon is actually exclusive to winter sports.
Winter Olympics. Okay, I got you. All right. So we got the Hall of Famer himself, Uncle Max. He says he got a list. I like this list. Number 1, the bobsled. Number 2, luge.
Love the luge.
Yes. Number 3, hockey. Number 4, ski jumping. Number 5, curling, and everything else gets an honorable mention. And Uncle Max loves the Winter Olympics. And Uncle Max, we love you, the Hall of Famer himself.
I can't argue with that list at all.
Nope.
At all. That's I think I might unanimously agree with that list.
Yep.
I don't love curling though. I think it might be fun to play, but watching it, I can only watch it for so long, and then I gotta go.
Yeah.
I like when they're yelling the commands, like sweep, hold it, push.
All right, we understand. We get it. We get the picture.
Hey, I bet
my eardrums out over here.
I bet they could clean the house quick too.
What?
They can clean the house quick. As soon as it hit the floor, sweep. Dust pan. You're fired. Just get off the team. Get off the team.
My thing is, how do they like? And of course, it's got to be special shoes. Yeah. Me, I'd be just slipping on the ice, trying to sweep and do that all at the same time. I guarantee I'd fall on on international TV. Yeah. There's belly up like I was this past summer. I wasn't gonna say that. For no reason. What happened? What happened?
All right, here we go. We got Ryan Robelski. He says, I like the women's skaters in hopes that one.
He's looking for wardrobe malfunctions, is what he's looking for.
Yeah, he's looking for wardrobe malfunctions. And yes, Ryan likes women's figure skating for obvious reasons. You know what? What's her name? The girl from France, Bonnet. She used to do the backflip. She's a black figure skater from France, and she did the backflip.
Okay. All right. I was about to say, don't get me the line. I don't.
Ooh, boy, she was cold. Bonnet was cold. Whatever happened to her, I don't even know. But ooh, boy, that thing, she was cold. She was cold. She like, watch this. Start flipping. I'm like, oh Lord, she flipping. My mom be like, Bob, what's wrong with you? Mama Saria, she flipping, baby flipping. Had a little thing for her. I hope you see this podcast. Come holler at your boy. All right, so here we go. Craig Burns, he said, one word, speed skating. Go.
There's so many different speed skating events, but I can watch that. There's different distances. I like that. Yeah. And then Corey Loughran put the Jamaican bobsled team up picture on there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good old bobsled team, man. You can't go wrong with that. Once again, shout out to JoJo Comfort, best name in the game, the big boss man, Bruce Diamond, the Hall of Famer, Uncle Max, Ryan Robelski, and I got his name right, and Craig Burns for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. I'll go first. Hockey, international hockey. All right. I just like watching hockey from different countries and just watching them play and just skate around and body check and still get physical and everything. Well, actually, in the Olympics, it's not as physical. It's more finesse than it is physical, as opposed to, the good old, American Hockey League up in, Cleveland, or the National Hockey League where they fighting and punching and cussing and doing everything else. It's just seeing the best from the best of each country represent their country to the fullest extent. Are there no?
Did you see the? Oh no, and NHL is they decided not to go this year because they're making up COVID games that they missed over Christmas time.
Okay,
remember the NHL took like a little pause, like a week pause or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the Canadian women's team in their first 3 games scored 29 goals to 3?
I didn't catch it.
Up 3, and the USA was 18-2, and they're playing each other. I mean, I think if that's not mistaken, our time tonight after we record this podcast. So if you're listening to this, you probably already know what happened. But I believe those two teams are playing each other, and it could happen twice. They're playing to be the top seed coming out of their bracket, and they're both going to advance. But the Canadian team is known as like a dominant team, and if I'm not mistaken, the USA women lost to them in the last Olympics early like this, and then beat them in the finals. I think that's how that went. I can't claim to know it all. I mean, I know you guys are lucky to have me, and you think I know it all, but I can't claim to know every detail of every sport. But anyway, go ahead, Eddie.
Just to mention real quick, USA versus Canada women's hockey, 11:10 Eastern time tonight. So
Monday night,
Monday night. So in about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up real quick. Watch the girls play hockey. So I selected hockey. Be Live, what you got?
Well, it's been mentioned a few times, but the best way I can mention it is hopefully I can get a little check from Disney when I say this. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's a bobsled time. Come on. I'm just a simple-minded African American youth growing up. It's just when I saw the movie, I don't care who you were. You wanted to be on the Jamaican bobsled team. I don't care. It's just there's certain things in life that it was a standard. You wanted to be a Jamaican bobsledder. At some point in time, you wanted Uncle Phil to be your dad. I mean, or Officer Carl Winslow. There's one other TV dad I'm not going to mention because a little controversial right now. But it's just something. There's certain standards to growing up in the South, being a person of color. But yes, come on. Bobsledding is just by far just when they take off, when they're like full on sprint at the beginning, how four of them jump into it, like literally the rhythm of it, just getting in there. It's an art form to watch. The luge scares the crap out of me. How do you lay on your back at that speed and just tuck your head up just to see and get a maneuver, and we can't look your head up too far. Yeah. Man,
it's incredible. Like the difference between getting into advancing into the medal rounds is like hundreds of seconds and it's like if your toe was longer, you would have advanced.
Wow.
Like, right. Your toe is short by like half an inch. The speed on that is absolutely incredible. I love watching that. I love watching the luge.
So yeah, if I made a list, it would look very, very similar to the Hall of Famer Uncle Matt. So, but yeah, bobsled by far my favorite. I'm actually going to look on my schedule right now so I can go ahead and get the preliminary rounds, get all of it. I need all of it in my life.
Every last bit of it. Scottie D, what is your favorite Winter Olympic sport?
Yeah, I was looking forward. I'm going to tell you some of what I've seen, because I would have probably started off by saying ski jumping. That's always been one of my, ever since I was a little kid. I used to always love watching the ski jumping, and I will continue to watch that. I watched the downhill, the mogul races. We had a young lady named Jalen Koff who took the silver medal. Really exciting to see that. She was not expected to. She as a newcomer was in there with the heavyweights from that sport. Again with the luge, I saw Chris Masder, who is a veteran American. He was in his last Olympics. I think he took silver in the last Olympics, but this was going to be it for him. He took 8, and he was thrilled with it. He had such a good run, and that was exciting. I'm not much one for the figure skating, but there's a young Russian girl, 15 years old, Russian ice skater, who they're claiming could end up being the greatest to ever do it, because she pulled off the first ever Olympic quad where they spin in the air 4 times.
The quadruple axel?
She did it twice. She fell on her third attempt doing it, but she did it twice, and still that helped Russia win the gold in the team event. And that, but if you're going to tell me this girl, who I believe her name is Kamila Valieva, if she's going to be the best of all time and I'm watching Olympics, I'll just go ahead and watch that as well. And I was watching some of the downhill snowboarding where they're going down and they're grinding on the pipes and they're skiing on top of a house. Did you see they're boarding? There's like a house on the side of the track. They're gliding off that.
I missed that one.
They're called the Twisted Sisters. They have 2 ramps that are twisted and they're spinning. These people, what they do is phenomenal, Eddie Cole. They're up in the air, just gliding so gracefully. But then you got to land. Being in the air, flying through the air is one thing, but then landing without killing yourself is another. So, I'm really enjoying watching. I love the Winter Olympics. I've been having a great time, and I am also going to mention Michaela Schifrin, who I will talk more about in my pepper point a little bit later. But like she's another. She's an American skier who is looking to break the American record with the most medals. And in her first event, the giant slalom, she fell and immediately lost her opportunity in that one. Still has another couple of events coming up, but I'm going to talk about Michaela Schifrin a little bit later on. But those are. I kind of answered my question and then gave you more just because I've been watching the Olympics. I've been a little excited to talk about some of the things I've been seeing, but keep your eyes on this stuff, man. There's some great stuff going on there. And that's all I got for the choices of voices. All
right. Thank you for everybody for doing a double dip in the choices of the voices. And I just got an idea. Fellas, what do you say we do like in an episode where like it's a bonus episode and it's just all choices of the voices? How do you feel about that, fellas?
Well, let's see if I can come up with that many questions, but that sounds like a good time though. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's in the future. Y'all let us know if y'all want like an episode is just choices of the voices. Cause we'll do it. We'll do it. Cause see, my brain's always working. Scottie D, what's on tap for next week's choices of the voices?
All right, so this is going to be completely different from what we've been talking about. But this past Saturday night, Duke played North Carolina, and it was the last time that Coach K ever visited North Carolina, and they won by 20. And he took all the fun out of it because a lot of times those games are really good games. But as Coach K is riding out into the sunset, I'm going to ask you: is Coach K the best college basketball coach of all time? And if not, who is? That's our question for next week. That, Eddie Cole, give us something to talk about. Is Coach K the greatest ever? And if not, who is?
Yep. What say you? Also, hey, y'all let us know if y'all want us to do that full-length episode of Choices of the Voices. We don't mind doing it. We do not mind doing it. We'll make it a bonus episode. How about that? Yep, that's the question. Next week on the Choices of the Voices. Thank you for participating. But before we get up out of here, stay tuned. We got Pepper coming up next.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Well, you heard, woman, it's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell out of here. But before we go, we're going to hit you with a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really, here to engage, enlighten, and most importantly, entertain, all right? And with that being said, I'll go first. On this day in history, back in 1936, the first ever NFL draft took place. Fellas, any guess on who went first overall and to where they went to?
In what year?
1936.
Jay Barwanger.
I was gonna no, be live. Don't do that. No. Why did I even think that though?
You almost did it.
I almost did it for real. Like,
and before you proceed, I'm gonna stop you. All right, Scottie D got it right. Jay Berwanger. All right, from
Chicago.
From the University of Chicago. He was the first pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame, but he wound up being the first pick in the first ever NFL draft back in 1936. Over to you, Scottie D.
Boy, you guys got to be impressed that I just came out with that one. You would have to be. Jay Berwanger. Boom.
Yeah, you just snatched that one out. You just.
It's like it's in our notes. I mean,
It's not my notes. I didn't know he's talking about Jay Berwanger. All right.
Now, be like, you do know Scottie D is a trivia guy. I'm just saying.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. So the old jokes will come to you now, all right? Because there ain't no way in the world I'd have known that trivia question at all. And you already saw where I almost slipped. I almost said, see, I had restraint. See,
Namaste.
I was able to. Yes.
Namaste. All right, Scottie D, go ahead.
Were you going after Uncle Max?
Oh.
All right. Sorry, Uncle Max.
Bring on the water. Go ahead, Scottie D.
All right. So I know B Live is going to talk in a few minutes about an impressive golf feat that happened. I want to share one with you also that is different. It was a different tournament, but this past weekend, Tom Hoagie won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, his 19 under par, slid by Jordan Spieth, who faded a little bit down the stretch. I think he bogeyed the 17th hole, and Hoagie came in with 4 birdies in the last 6 holes, and he took the tournament. But the crazy thing that happened on Saturday on the par 4 8th hole that goes over a cliff that Jordan Spieth hit his ball within inches of, and he played it. Did you guys see this shot over the weekend? Did you see this footage of this? So there's like a red line, that rope that's painted on the ground that you're not supposed to go by it because you're going to fall off a cliff if you do. And Jordan Spieth hit his ball literally inches from this cliff, and he went up and he played it, and he ended up parring the hole. He hit it just to the side of the green and parred the hole. But PGA Tour, you gotta not let your best players go and stand on the edge of a cliff and play. It should have been a penalty. You can't let him do that. If he slips or a piece of the ground collapses, then Jordan Spieth would have fallen off a cliff like the Coyote in the middle of a PGA event on Pebble Beach on national TV. The Coyote used to fall off cliffs all the time. That could have been Spieth just plunging to his death because he's trying to make par. PGA, don't just do better, do safer. Be safe. Next up, the Phoenix Open out in Arizona. That's always a fun one because that one wraps up usually right before kickoff of the Super Bowl. Be Live, over to you.
Well, I will take this opportunity and use this segue because on the other side of the world, at the Saudi, what was the name of this tournament again?
Saudi Open.
The Saudi International Open over in the King Abdullah Economic City. That is a name. King Abdullah Economic City. I'm assuming that's a translation. In Saudi Arabia. Bubba Watson has gone into the clubhouse with a 1-putt lead. It is seemingly his to win. There's only one more golfer out there that has the potential of possibly catching him to force a playoff, and it faced a little uphill battle because he had a 2-putt to tie to force a playoff. Well, he did a little bit more than that. I mean, he goes by the name of Harold Varner III. And he had a 90-foot putt. He 2-putt, you go to the playoff. But he said, hold my beer. And hit a 90-foot eagle putt to win the whole thing. And I don't think I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger putt shot. Like I've seen Tiger Woods. I don't think I've ever seen a putt of this magnitude, the length of it, how far it went. On the 18th green, you're down a stroke, eagle, walk off, done. Harold Varner III. I hope to see him in some PGA events. This is over in the Asian Tour. He did win the Australian PGA Open, I believe, earlier this.
He's a regular tour player though. He didn't play in this, but he's a regular tour player, and he's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I did not recognize the name, but I just so happened to see the highlight. I was like, no, actually, I saw it. I saw it in real time, actually. I was like, yo, whoa. Oh, no, it was probably a highlight. I can't remember exactly. This weekend, a lot going on. I had the weekend off, so I was enjoying life this weekend, but hey, that's neither here nor there. But
So you're
Harold
barely sober when you saw the pot, is what you're
Mind
saying.
goodness, what I was trying to say, I was trying to be a little PG about it. You know what I'm saying? And it was the drinks were flowing. It was delicious. And yeah, with that being said, Harold Varner III, what an amazing eagle putt, 90-foot putt, eagle walk-off, game, set, match. Eddy cool for the ball.
I'm gonna make sure I move because I can't. I've been hitting the head enough. I don't want to get hit anymore. Can't afford it. All right, my second pepper point goes out to the Minnesota Timberwolves forward Anthony Edwards. All right, Anthony Edwards is great for the sport of basketball and especially for the Minnesota Timberwolves because after his Timberwolves beats the brakes off of the Detroit Pistons, during a post-game interview, he said, wait a minute. Before we get this interview started, I need to order some McDonald's. So before he said anything, he said, hey, don't ask me any questions. And it's this one jackass, so what are you getting? Dude didn't, and then the dude was like, did he say not to ask no questions? Like, see, it's always that one person, they never listen. Somehow their cerebral filter does not work and they say and do silly stuff. Like, no, don't say anything. I'm gonna ask you no, jackass. He trying to get some McChickens and have some fun. And he says he loves Minnesota. And I'm gonna tell you, Minnesota, he's a hell of a player and a hell of an athlete too. And you better do the right thing by this young man and build a team around him and call Anthony Towns, because if not, they're gonna be gone. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. Get you some Mickey D's at the press conference.
It's the fifth grade all over again. We win. Let's go to Mickey D's.
Right, exactly. Get you an ice cream cone. So I was briefly talking about Michaela Schifrin a few moments ago in regards to the Olympics, but this is this young lady's third Olympics. She's 26 years old from Colorado. She has two gold medals in the past, and she's trying to win 3 in this Olympic alone and become pretty much like our best skier we've ever had. She fell in that opening one, and I am rooting for her big time to win more gold, because this young lady in 2020 was doing a photo shoot up in the mountains. And I saw a picture. She was like, leaning on her skis. It was a beautiful setting up in the mountains. And while that was happening, her father somehow at his home suffered a head injury and did not survive. And he and his mom also were in the sport. So this was like a family affair. He went to all of her competitions, and he was a photographer, did a lot of pictures, and was very much part of her competitive life, as in addition to being her father. But really a touching story. And you see a lot of these kind of backstories that NBC will put up during the Olympics. But this is her first Olympics without her father. And man, it would be so meaningful to see her get past this first hurdle of falling in their opening event and moving on to win some more gold medals. So let's all root for Michaela Schifrin, USA. Be live. Over to you.
USA, yes. Definitely be rooting for her very much so.
And she's hot.
That's neither here nor there.
No, she is. She's not.
Jesus. Scottie D. The gift that keeps on giving. All right. All right. We're gonna move on from that. Old decrepit. Anyway, I gotta switch up. I gotta switch it up this week. Usually, my third final pepper point, I usually come with the fire, because that's just what I do. But this week I'm gonna do something a little bit different, because I want to save the best for last. So my second pepper point is going to be just ridiculous, and it's going to be in the NBA. And so I'm gonna lead off with a question to both of you.
Okay.
When is the only time that you are awarded points if the basketball does not enter the net?
What is goaltending?
Ding, ding, ding. That is usually the answer. The only way that you can score points without the ball going into the cylinder, into the net. Well, the NBA officials of the Cleveland Cavaliers Charlotte Hornets game earlier this past week, they invented a whole entire different way of being able to award a team points. And so there was a sequence in the game where if I'll make sure where Dean Wade for the Charlotte Hornets, he accidentally stepped out of bounds. And the referees blew the whistle and the play was called dead. But before the play was actually called dead and everything, the Charlotte Hornets maybe made 2 passes and the ball ended up getting into the hands of Terry Rozier. Play was blown dead. And so as opposed to handing the ball to the referee just to, as a turnover, Terry Rozier shoots the ball. He shoots the ball, but the play was blown dead. And so one of the Cavalier bench players went to swipe at it and made contact on him while he was shooting the ball after the play was blown dead. But since one of the referees saw that a bench player made contact with a player that was on the floor, even though the play was dead, called a technical foul on the play, but also awarded the Hornets 3 points. For what? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Their reports were saying, we don't know why the referee awarded them those points. It was a miscommunication. It ended up being a 4-point play, and the ball never made it into the goal at all. There was no goaltending.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
I guarantee it. I was like, with the what?
I have to look that up.
He was shooting the ball. You know how people shoot the ball after the play is blown dead. Just, get a little extra practice. They're not doing that when I play ball. But yeah, they called a technical foul because the player from the bench swatted at the ball even though the play was dead. And they awarded them 3 points, citing interference somehow, even though the play was blown dead.
Interference?
So with that being said, that's what I saw this past week in the world of sports that had you scratching my head. What happened? What happened, Pepper? Hashtag. I might have to do that. Eddy, cool. The ball.
All right, thank you, B-Lab. That was a very interesting damn story. I got us all on gallery view in case you're wondering. All right, so my third and final pepper point is an alternative solution to the Pro Bowl. All right, don't play.
Oh, please give me this. I hope this is good because I couldn't watch that.
I think I know where you go with it already.
Okay, so we know after the conference championship game, the only meaningful game after that is the Super Bowl. Just like we have the Bengals and the Rams playing Sunday. The Pro Bowl, it ain't been the same since Sean Taylor took that boy head off all the many years ago. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. You would have been a commander, not a Redskin. So, in my ventures on social media, I went to this one group called Bias Sport Talk 4.0. How it got to 4, I don't know. Somebody said mama smelt like a bag of bologna and your mama's a man and all that fun stuff, right?
Facebook violations, the Facebook pokey
Yeah.
for Facebook groups. So
yeah. All right, so I saw this particular meme and I was like, you know what? This is the ultimate solution to get rid of the Pro Bowl, because in Canada, I think you get awarded, you get named as a Canadian All-Star, but they not play no Pro Bowl game or an All-Star game. Here's the idea, all right? And I quote from this here meme. This is the first time in history of the world that a meme made sense. Instead of the Pro Bowl, take the 2 teams with the worst records in the league. This year would be the Jaguars and the Lions. Let them play one game to determine the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Figured that be a much more competitive game over the Pro Bowl. I'm all for it. Where's the petition? I want to sign it. We got one more meaningful game before we get the one that is the season and win it all. So yes, I love that idea to the Pro Bowl because I don't know what the hell's going on. We got Mac Jones doing the gritty, looking like he got arthritis in his butt.
God, you stole it from me. I was about to comment on it.
And we just got all this chicanery and shenanigans. Yeah. So
two-hand touch.
Yeah, two-hand touch.
Two-hand touch.
Literally, I was watching, I was at work and I'm like, what the hell? When my coworker said, the Pro Bowl is on, find some golf or something. You got to do something about this. This is ridiculous. I'm not watching no damn Pro Bowl. There's nothing on the line other than, hey, you get to go to, instead of going to Hawaii, they go to Vegas, right?
Yes, it was Vegas this year.
And then, and then Alvin Kamara gets in trouble. Over to you, Scottie D.
Yeah, he sure did get himself into trouble. And at this point, just take the helmets off and pull flags, but make it flag football. Why? If you're only going to be two-handed touching, you don't even need the pads and helmets anymore. Just do it that way. But if go ahead.
I would say that would actually be more entertaining.
Yeah. Flag football. Getting that extra game might cause a little bit of controversy labor-wise, which brings me to Major League Baseball. Because the labor situation is getting contentious. You got guys like Scherzer firing off tweets and Marcus Stroman firing off tweets. These guys, the owners, Major League Baseball, they wasted 46 days over Christmas until just recently trying to squeeze in labor peace with pitchers and catchers supposed to report just a week away. That's supposed to be coming up here. The MLB gave a proposal. Major League Baseball didn't like it, but instead of getting a counter proposal, they decided they wanted a mediator to come in, and the players are having none of that. They're like, give us a counter. Let's talk. Let's figure out. And I don't know everything that's going on with this, but isn't this just typical of baseball? This is a league that canceled the World Series. They canceled half the season back in, what was it, like 1981 or 82. A year ago, 2 years ago, whenever we're trying to get a shortened COVID season, they fought over the pieces of the pie to the tune of pushing that back a few weeks. Have you ever seen a league, any of these major leagues, do the players in the league hate each other more than these guys? It's just, they say they've had labor peace and because they haven't had any strikes or lockouts in recent years, but it's just, it feels like it's always going on with these guys. They're arguing over service time and all. Hey, MLB, you better get it together. You, of all leagues, cannot afford to alienate fans and not get your season going underway on time or close to on time. We can sacrifice a few spring training games, but opening day, baby, you better have this figured out. And another thing, Kenny Pickett went 6 for 6 in the Senior Bowl with a touchdown. Pitt, let's go Pitt. Be live, over to you.
Kenny.
And yeah, Panthers
from the reigning, defending, undisputed ACC champion Pitt Panthers, Kenny Pickett.
You better enjoy this. You better enjoy it while it lasts.
Oh, I absolutely am. I might even say it again next week for no reason. Good.
Just saying. Well, I'm saying. my Clemson Tigers got not one, not two, but 3 5-star quarterbacks in there on their team. So I'm just saying, it's gonna be a competition this coming season. And
6 for 6 for 89 yards and a touchdown. Kenny Pickett's good. Go ahead, Be-Live. Over to you.
He's good. He's good.
Over to you, Be-Live.
Yeah, draft him in the 3rd round. All right, cool. My third and final pepper point, and I'm gonna save the best for last, but I want to put this out there that while you had the Pro Bowl 2-hand touch game, NASCAR had the Clash at the Coliseum, which could have been the worst thing I've possibly ever seen in my entire life. 150 laps. And the laps were a quarter mile long. Like they built a racetrack inside of a football stadium It was a quarter mile long, and they went around in a circle for 150 laps. So it's literally.
What are you doing watching this anyway? Come on.
There was nothing else on. You had the promo, you had this.
You had cocktails. You didn't need this.
Where I was having my beverages at, it was happened to be around people that enjoy. He made another left turn. I'm sorry. So it was just there, and I was just like, oh, the best part about it is when they were announcing the 23-car field, they had these NASCAR racers walking down the steps of the Los Angeles Coliseum. Like, these dudes drive for a living. They don't like to walk, and they had them walking down the longest set of stairs ever, second only to was it Mount Kilimanjaro? Someone, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
yeah.
But that's not my pepper pot. I just want to throw that out there. NASCAR, don't ever do that again. And they were talking about, oh, this could be the future of the future of NASCAR. No, it bet not.
No,
that's just don't do it. Don't do it again. That was unbearable to watch. I just don't understand. All right, my third and final pepper.
It's your fault for watching it. It's your fault for watching it.
I did. They didn't get they didn't get any ratings from me. I didn't go buy any products from the commercials. Everything. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
All right, the hockey games. Come on, let's go.
Yep. All right, let's go. But my third and final pepper point. This was very easy. Like I said, save the best for last, and I very much enjoy featuring local talent. And this past week, got to see one of our very own. He'll be class of 2022 out of Northmore Beach High School. Our very own Elijah Vereen signed his letter of intent to go to Newberry College. And just here's one thing that made it extra special for me is that I've never seen signing at my high school. You see them all the time, and you see them ESPN and everything, but they rolled out. They had the backdrop, had it. Like, I was like, to see that at my school, at my alma mater,
pretty dope.
And it was actually really cool. They had speeches by the coach, athletic director, and the way it was put together. Even Timothy Vereen, I know they're two very proud parents. I graduated with the Eve class of 2000. I believe Timothy was class of 2001, or was he 2001? Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Any relation to the head of creative?
It's a possibility.
There's a billion Vereens in South Carolina.
Listen, there's a billion Vereens across the country. I thought it was an Horry County thing, but then there's some up here in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Nevada, which means if I go somewhere, I ain't got to worry about placing tickets. Hey, cuzzo, I'm in town.
Yeah.
But man, just a couple of accolades from Elijah Vereen. He played both sides of the ball, but I believe he's going to be playing defensive back at Newberry College and Newberry Wolves. He is a one-time Region 6 4A Athlete of the Year, for a All-State player. He's also for a lower state champion from last year. The Northmore Beach Chiefs were the lower state champion, made it all the way to Columbia. Oh man. Whew, so close, but still made it all the way there. So incredibly proud of that football program. He boasts a 40 of 4.48. Dude's fast.
Oh, he's quick.
Oh, yeah.
Pew.
And so I'm looking forward to watching him further his career in football at Newberry College, just outside of Columbia. Actually went to a basketball camp there, hosted by Eddy Cool's own Gamecock legend, Alex English. I went to one of his basketball camps at Newberry College.
I remember him.
So yeah, and that was really. I love that basketball camp, by the way. And so Newberry College has great facilities. Well, then again, this would have been, Lord Jesus, that'd have been, oh, good Lord. I want to say this probably like 20, 26, 27 years ago. So I'm pretty sure their facilities have changed, but that Newberry College has a little special place in my heart because I did get a chance to go to basketball camp there, meet the great Alex English. So I want to say hats off. And also just some academic accomplishments for Elijah Vereen. Boasted a 3.5 grade point average and a member of the National Honor Society. So he is gifted academically as well as athletically. And I wish him and I see a very bright future for him. Elijah Vereen, congratulations. Hats off to you from us here at the Sports Bros podcast. Yes, sir. Once a chief, always a chief.
Yep. And that has been another round of pepper. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all y'all, this has been another episode of the Sports Bros podcast. As always, thanks for your love. Thanks for your support. Keep listening. I got all kind of articles during Black History Month about Black athletes on Key on Sports Media Group. And check out the replays of my color commentary games, along with Dave Rivera on WOBL Radio, covering Lorain County hoops. With that being said, and in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. I would move, but I did catch a cramp in the middle of the podcast, but that's okay. That's all right. Thank you once again for listening to another edition of the Sports Bros podcast.
USA, USA.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna walk gingerly. I'm catching crap. I gotta eat bananas, man. You get potassium in your life.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Milton Gore for telling me that, man. Get some potassium in your life. Hey, y'all take care. Bye. See y'all next week.